Welcome to the YouTube channel, Contact Center Knowledge Hub, your one-stop solution for expert guidance, best practices, and actionable knowledge in the world of contact centers. Explore, learn, and enhance contact center skills. Let's now discuss in detail the key considerations for target setting of build to cost in a contact center. Let's look at the key considerations for target setting of the build-to-cost ratio, starting with contract type and pricing model. The way a contract is priced has a direct impact on how margins are planned, protected, and measured. First, per hour or per FTE pricing. This model is typically easier to forecast because revenue is tied to the number of staffed hours. However, margins depend heavily on shrinkage control, occupancy levels, and schedule efficiency. Second, per contact or per minute pricing. Here, the model becomes volume sensitive. If volumes drop, revenue drops. And when automation or self-service increases, the number of billable units decreases, which can put pressure on margins. Third, outcome-based pricing. This includes models tied to sales closed, collections recovered, or CSAT achieved. In this case, the risk and reward are shared between the vendor and the client. Margins can be higher, but they are also more variable depending on performance. Key insight: target setting for build to cost must always align with the pricing structure of the contract. Because how you are paid directly shapes how you manage efficiency, staffing, and profitability. Next, let's consider industry and client profile and how it influences build-to-cost target setting. Different industries carry different cost structures and operational expectations, so the achievable ratio will vary. High regulation industries, such as banking, healthcare, and insurance, require strong compliance controls, documentation, auditing, and specialized agent skills. These added layers increase operating cost, which means build-to-cost ratios tend to be lower and tighter in these sectors. On the other hand, e-commerce and retail environments typically allow greater use of automation, self-service, and offshore delivery models. This creates efficiencies and scale opportunities, enabling healthier and more flexible build-to-cost ratios. Additionally, for strategic or long-term clients, vendors may deliberately operate at lower margins, especially when the account supports future expansion, cross-sale opportunities, or market reputation benefits. Key insight: the industry context and client relationship maturity directly shape margin expectations. Target setting must reflect compliance demand, automation potential, and strategic value, not just cost and capacity inputs. Now let's look at how geography and labor market conditions influence the build-to-cost ratio. Delivery location has a direct impact on wage levels, operating costs, and therefore, sustainable margin targets. Onshore delivery, such as the US or UK, comes with higher operating expenses. As a result, achievable build-to-cost ratios here are typically lower, often in the range of 1:1. Offshore locations, such as India or the Philippines, benefit from a lower labor cost base and strong talent availability. This allows organizations to sustain higher build-to-cost ratios, commonly in the 1:3 to 1:6 range. Nearshore regions, including Latin America and Eastern Europe, generally fall in the middle range, with sustainable ratios around 1:1.5, depending on language needs and skill complexity. Key insight: target setting must always reflect the geographic cost baseline. Labor market conditions define the achievable margin, and ignoring this can lead to unrealistic expectations or financial strain. Next, let's consider how operational efficiency and workforce metrics influence the build-to-cost ratio. Your operational performance directly shapes your cost per productive hour and therefore the margin you can realistically sustain. Let's break this down. Occupancy and shrinkage determine how efficiently agent time is being used. When these metrics are well managed, your cost per productive hour remains stable and predictable. But when they are weak, costs rise very quickly. Attrition also plays a major role. Turnover increases recruitment, training, and ramped-up expenses, which pushes the cost base upward and reduces profitability. First contact resolution, FCR, is another critical lever. Higher FCR means fewer repeat calls, fewer escalations, and lower total effort, which reduces cost. Low FCR has the opposite effect. It inflates workload and total delivery cost. Key insight: if efficiency metrics are strong, a higher bill-to-cost target can be sustained. But if these operational metrics are weak, bill-to-cost targets must be more conservative to protect stability and avoid margin erosion. Now let's look at the role of AI and automation leverage in shaping the bill-to-cost ratio. When automation is used effectively, through IVR containment, chatbot-based resolution, workflow automation, or RPA, it reduces the delivery effort required per interaction. Means you require fewer agent hours to handle the same workload, which lowers the cost denominator and improves the bill-to-cost ratio. However, pricing structure matters. In per-contact or permanent billing models, higher automation may also reduce the number of billable units. Revenue, or the numerator, can decrease even while efficiency improves. So the economic impact depends on how the contract is structured. Key insight: target setting must align with both the level of automation maturity and the pricing model. Automation margins or compress revenue, depending on how the work is billed. Next, let's examine how SLA and penalty risk impact bill-to-cost target setting. When a contract includes aggressive SLA commitments, such as strict service levels, handle time controls, quality thresholds, or customer satisfaction guarantees, the risk of penalties. Any SLA miss can result in revenue deductions, bonus losses, or direct penalty payouts. These reduce the revenue side of the ratio and compress margins, even if operational costs stay the same. Therefore, if SLA penalties are frequent or likely, one must set a higher bill-to-cost target to create a financial safety buffer. Key insight: the tighter and more demanding the SLA framework is, the more protective the target ratio must be, to ensure that performance risk does not erode profitability. Let's now look at the importance of historical performance and benchmarking when setting targets for the bill-to-cost ratio. Before deciding on a new target, it's essential to analyze the past 12 to 24 months of performance trends for the specific client or account. This reveals how stable, where pressure points exist, and how margins respond to volume, efficiency, or cost changes. Next, compare those results to industry benchmarks. A healthy bill-to-cost ratio typically falls in the range of 1 to 1. A ratio 1 is considered a red flag, indicating thin or negative margins and potential financial risk. A ratio above 1/7 may look strong, but can actually trigger client pushback, as customers may question pricing fairness or demand rate reductions. Right? Target setting should always be data-driven and context-aware, grounded in historical performance and aligned with realistic market benchmarks, rather than aspirational or arbitrary numbers. Finally, let's consider the impact of client relationship and strategic value on bill-to-cost target setting. Not all clients hold the same strategic weight. Some accounts are anchor relationships, large, long-term clients that provide stability, growth potential, and cross-opportunities. For these clients, organizations may accept a lower bill-to-cost ratio because the strategic value outweighs short-term margin pressure. On the other hand, transactional clients, where volumes are smaller, the relationship is shorter, or switching cost is low, require high ratios to ensure the business remains financially healthy and protected. Key insight: the strength and strategic importance of the client relationship directly influences margin expectations. Stronger, long-term partnerships may support lower ratio targets, while transactions must protect margin more aggressively to remain sustainable. Let's wrap up with a clear and practical summary for setting bill-to-cost targets. When determining the right margin range, leaders must carefully balance several key considerations. Contract model, whether the pricing is hourly, transactional, or outcome-based. Industry and geography, recognizing that compliance-heavy sectors and high-wage regions have different cost baselines than automation-friendly or offshore environments. Operational efficiency metrics, such as AHT, shrinkage, FCR, and attrition, which directly influence cost per productive hour. Automation maturity, understanding whether automation will lower cost or reduce billable revenue, depending on the pricing model. Strategic value of the client, distinguishing between anchor clients, where margins may be intentionally lighter, and transactional clients, where stronger protection is required. Key takeaway: a practical and sustainable bill-to-cost target range is typically 1.2 to 1.6. This range helps ensure healthy profitability, operational resilience, and strong client trust, while supporting long-term, scalable service delivery. Bill-to-cost isn't just about numbers, it's about balancing value, sustainability, and strategic partnership. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel, Contact Center Knowledge Hub. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. See you in the next video.